Hey yo, this is Tommy C in HD coming at you with the first episode as the Tommy C in HD podcast.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm here with my co-host Alex Henderson. How are you today, Alex?
I'm doing all right.
You doing all right?
The coronavirus time.
Yeah,
Quarantine.
coronavirus time. No, dude, for real. Like I went over to my uncles and my aunts earlier today, and it was man, they don't give a fuck.
At
Like
all.
they don't care.
How old are they?
My aunt's like in her late 30s. My uncle Bobby, he's the cop. He's in his like late 40s. He's
Okay.
almost 50. He's almost as old
Yeah,
as
so
my
they,
dad.
they just don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, my dad's actually the oldest out of
Hmm.
all of them. My aunt is his sister, and Luke, the dude that I worked for a little bit,
Yeah.
he's his brother.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Luke is actually the only one of our family that really cares that much about Corona because he has a kid. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be harder for him to go outside and not worry about his kid, even though he came to the shop like 15 times. Yeah. Man, how are your parents? What do
They're
they
good.
feel like? What about
They
your
don't care. I mean, my
relatives?
dad's working, but I mean, on the other hand, I mean, he's mostly working from home. But even when he goes up to the clinic, nobody shows up to the clinic right now. They're
Right,
they're all afraid.
right.
Ain't exactly much going on.
Well, I was gonna ask you, what your feelings were about the virus, because I know you know it is the virus existing doesn't stop you from doing work.
Nah, I think for most people it doesn't stop work.
Well, I
To a
mean,
certain degree, it
you
depends on the job.
you'd consider the fact that like stuff shutting
Other
down.
than stuff where it's directly interacting with
Yeah,
people,
but like
like
salons.
the service stuff. Well,
Salons are open now. I went to Guitar Center earlier today. Like the salon literally across
but
from it was open.
salons already had really high level
Sanitation.
sanitation levels because they have a lot of very specific stuff. That's why you see.
Yeah, but you got to think about the people that are going in there, not just the workers. Because everywhere, workers got clothes on, they got masks on.
Well, the salons they got masks and stuff on.
Well, I would think that it matters more of the people, what the people are doing and what the people are wearing. Because
Hmm?
if you're going to
Well,
the
the
same
people are
place to
supposed to wear
work,
masks.
right?
When I went and got my haircut the other day, they said please wear a mask.
Yeah, but like if you're going to the same place every day for work,
Mm.
the conditions aren't going to change.
Mm.
The people are going to change. You know what I mean? So you're going to get a variety of people,
Yeah.
and no matter how clean your place is, you got random people coming in.
Yeah, you always have a chance of
Yeah.
exposure.
See, that's what I think.
That's why they have to clean constantly.
That's why I think the whole like just like the whole contingency, like, oh, if we wear masks and gloves, everybody will be okay. I think it's like a fallacy, like a logical fallacy, because it's a virus, right?
Mhm.
Our flu vaccines barely even work, and
Well,
people are.
the flu changes a lot.
That's true,
Flu's
but
very,
so does this virus. The virus has already mutated like twice
yeah.
since January or whatever, and it's going to be really hard to crack down on a vaccine for such a thing.
Oh, it'll be a little while because they already said they keep talking about it, but they're probably not gonna be done for another year.
I would say even longer.
Maybe just because there's so much pressure on them to get it done. There's a lot more pressure than the flu. The flu doesn't kill very many people.
Now, it
Well,
did
yeah,
probably as many
but you
people
know
as
what I
we
mean.
have now, and we only have 100,000 recorded medical deaths. Like that's the same thing. Like
Well,
if you
but
have the corona, right? Like
but
if you get the corona and your family doesn't have it, like you test positive, everybody else tests negative because they can do that. Even though you don't have symptoms for 2 weeks, they can still test you and find the virus in your cells. But regardless of that fact, right? Like if you have corona and your family doesn't, they're literally going to strip you away from your family and put you in a cage, a medical cage for 2 weeks.
Forced quarantine is the whole. That California is probably gonna end up doing something weird like that.
Well, New York already did it.
New York makes more sense though because there's such a high population density.
Yeah, but like look at L.A. L.A. is the
LA's less.
L.A. No. L.A.'s the densest county in America.
But New York got hit harder.
That's because people in New York like eat rats for dinner and shit like that.
I wouldn't doubt that.
You know,
homeless people
You
down
go
the street.
pigeon hunting.
They got their little
Their shopping carts.
yeah, they got a little stand.
Fuck.
Fried rats for sale.
Man, you make a killing off a fried rat
Yeah,
in New York.
probably.
You think about it?
I
Could you
bet.
cure it though?
Huh?
I don't think you could cure it. It's like
Cure
pufferfish. It'd be too poisonous.
Nah, rat's not poisonous.
Dude, come on. The amount of chain smokers in New York shitting down a toilet every day. There's like
the
old
rats that are
bile
smoking
and
too.
chemicals. Ugh. Weed's not legal in New York. It's not a
Yeah.
healthy place, you know? But what's that stopping? One of the highest crime rate people for, you know, nonviolent possession charges. It's fine.
Dude, but you can't even. What are their gun laws? You can't even own much of anything in New York.
Dude, okay. Are we gonna get into guns now? I'm so ready. Alright. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be like all knowing about weapons and stuff like that because I'm not. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to that. So I want to pick your brain a little bit, and I want to share my opinion, and I want to get your opposing opinion because we have two different beliefs
Alright.
on what should be allowed. You know, we discussed it with your dad. My problem is people being able to have access to high capacity rifles. And I put high in air quotes because 30 round magazines are standard pretty much
Yeah.
throughout the military.
Throughout
And
the world.
right. But then you read out, you know, if you do some investigating, you know that even the military prefers to have higher round, like higher capacity magazines because you miss a lot, you know?
Yeah.
With a gun,
Well, but they don't give them 60 round mags because they run.
right,
you use up all
it's
your
like
ammo.
40 to 50. 40
No,
to 50.
they carry 30s because
Standard.
they don't want to burn all their ammo. 'Cause
Right.
They have to carry it all.
Sure. But then you talk about like civilians, you know, who aren't missing a lot because they're accurate, right? You know, like you tailor your rifle.
Well, you're shooting from a better position.
Yeah,
Not
and it's
walking
not
around.
shooting back, you know, like a deer.
Well,
Like
yeah, you don't have to deal with the combat
what
stress, and you're generally shooting from a
Yeah.
as perfect a position.
there's no adrenaline. Like people who get
No,
adrenaline
there's
from
still adrenaline.
in hunting? Are you sure? Like a deer?
Yeah.
Really?
Because you want to kill in one shot.
That's true.
Because if you miss it, you're gonna hurt it, and it's gonna run off and die eventually.
But that's more focus. I'm talking about like stress related
Yeah, you still get
adrenaline.
stress.
See, I've never been like hunting that often. I've gone like a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have like a fair judgment on it. But what I can assume, you know, is that there's no reason to have that high of a capacity, you know, or that big of a mags. Like I would reason that 10 round mags or, you know, 15 round mags are more reasonable for civilian use than 30 round mags.
Well, so there are two things with that. One of them is, the main one is that a couple of police departments and stuff like that have sat there and done the math. And so there's a good video of it online where a guy has reduced capacity magazines, like 10 rounds, and him reloading, he fires the same amount of rounds in the same amount of time as you would with 30 round mag.
Sure, but does that
Or not the same, but like a similar enough to where it doesn't matter.
Sure, but does that warrant the need for that many bullets?
It doesn't warrant it, but it makes the enforcement of it pointless. Because if the problem isn't solved by what you're doing, why are you changing it? Find a different solution. Because like California does, is they make it where the gun you can't have removable magazines. Well then that changes the whole dynamic. If you have a non-removable magazine, you're not going to be able to reload as fast. If you're just restricting magazine size, then it's not going to do as much.
So you're saying like if they found a way to put like a mag lock on
They
a
did.
weapon? Oh,
They made it so the people immediately come up with ways
obviously,
around it.
you know, people figured out how to take
Yeah,
the firing
well, so-
pin out of the sword, you know,
Well,
rifles
so
like that.
In California, the AR-15s, you have to disassemble it to reload it. They don't want a removable magazine. But so and they say, oh, you have to take it apart using specialized tools or like non-standard tools and all this other stuff. Well, immediately what somebody came up with is, well, we're going to make a little button on it where the gun pops in half if you push into it with a bullet. Because the tip of a bullet is not a standard tool. And so within 30 seconds of the law coming out, somebody already went, well, here's my workaround for it. But that's a different thing. But so in California, the guns have to come apart to reload. They don't let you have
That's wild. So you'd have to take it apart to insert the bullet. So what would be the point?
to remove the magazine.
Oh, okay.
So
So it's not like I was thinking like you're literally like a lever action where you're loading it in from the side, but some weird
I don't
contraption.
think that wouldn't
No.
work. On
Well,
a
that's what I'm
Bear.
saying is that's what I
They
was
made
thinking.
They made a stripper clip for a Barrett though, for California Barretts, because the California Barretts they can't remove a magazine, so somebody made a stripper clip for it.
Ugh.
So it side loads a stripper clip. It's awful.
Ugh. Oh, dude. Side belts?
Hmm?
Belt feds from like the side? Oh, what was that one World War One or two weapon? It's either Austrian or European. I can't remember. It's a weird machine gun, right? And it's got a stripper clip.
Oh, Hotchkiss.
Hotchkiss,
It's
yeah.
a French weapon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
They fired,
yeah.
yeah, that's why.
That's
It
ironic.
was like 80 round fixed belts. So it was just like a rectangle going out the side of a gun. It didn't bend or anything.
That's like hella inefficient.
Yeah, that's why they don't use it.
It's just like
anymore.
jammed all the
No,
time.
It worked. It's just you ran out of ammo in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
You
but then you have
had to
like World War One guns and mud.
they did
You're
in World
always
War
in the trench.
That's all they did. They sat there and shot at each other with machine guns. They didn't hit anything
That's true. Until you charged,
until you charged.
because you were using Civil War tactics.
Well, then you got hit by artillery and whatever else.
Dude, I was listening to a one of my favorite YouTubers named The Dark Somnium. He's basically a creepypasta reader, kind of. He's like a storyteller. They're not creepypastas because they're like not a part of the fandom. You should give it a listen. They're like different stories. I'll shoot you one after this, but it was like a World War one, and it was like a real World War One vet story.
Yeah.
And the vet was talking about like at one point there was this kid who had lost his arm, like a young kid who had lost his arm, and he's been in the dude speaking, the dude who wrote the diary.
Yeah.
It was like 40. He's been in the war for like 5 years, right? And he was on the European front, and he comes across this kid in his trench.
I don't think there was anything other than a European.
Well, the Ally, or whenever America got introduced,
In World War One, there
Yeah.
wasn't a.
and the shotguns.
We didn't have it in,
Americans
Africa
didn't have trenches. We had shotguns. But he comes across, and the kid's like lost an arm, and he's starting to like wrap up the kid's arm, and he says that he hears his commander yell, gas. So he reaches for his gas mask, and it's cracked. So he literally rips it from the stub dude
Yeah.
and puts it on his own face. And I was like, damn. Like, that's right. And he talks about people slitting their own throats with, like, bayonets and, like, clawing at them, trying to get oxygen.
Yeah.
Man,
The
mustard gas.
The gas was awful.
Gas sounds
That's what happened.
terrible.
Th-
Isn't
that's-
that how Hitler got his mustache? Was, like, the hair literally couldn't grow there because he was in World War One, and the way the
I
masks
don't know.
were.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, the way the masks were, like, cut off right here.
Huh.
Because he didn't shave it.
That'd be an interesting.
Well, he didn't shave it. He
Yeah.
never shaved.
Huh.
Like he was growing this out. Well, he would shave his sideburns, but he wouldn't shave. This wasn't like he didn't really care about iconacy. He was just a dude, Like Benito Mussolini, he cared about iconacy. That's why he built 15 different statues of himself.
Man, that's why he got killed by his people.
Yeah,
Because
he
got
was used
knocked
by.
out of an arm. That's why, because what happened? Because we took him, or somebody took him into as
No.
a prisoner.
No. Nobody took him into. He got killed in his own office,
Oh,
and he
he
got
just
drugged
got-
through the streets.
I remember the drug to the street.
He was hung by like a telephone or like
Yeah.
a electricity line, like over the streets by his neck. It was terrible. His guts were out.
Well, it
So
was
gross.
Mussolini. He was
There are
kind of-
worse
he was
dudes in
kinda-
history than Mussolini.
but he was still an awful person. He's still dictator.
I would disagree. I would think that Mussolini was more of a man of the people, regardless if he's a fascist. He's still a man of the people. Like, come on,
Fascism isn't man of the people; it's man of the state.
he's like past Putin. He's like Putin before Putin. Because he always
accept that.
he didn't have a shirt on. He was always flexing. He was always chopping wood, Like, look how much of a manly man I am, and I'm doing it for this poor family. And I do it for photography, vote for Mussolini. But he was a dictator. No, don't get me wrong. Dude was terrible, starved his own
Oh, yeah.
people. He was Stalin, essentially.
Stalin. Stalin is Stalin. Stalin's his own entire.
Russia just has its own political fuck ups. If you think about it.
Dude, that's like the entire history of Russia. Rep the SARS. Remember that? The people revolted and they just killed all the kids.
Dude, yeah.
Like all the SARS kids or
You
whatever.
know that propaganda in Russia has like praised Tsar Putin on it?
Probably.
That is weird.
They probably, the government
That's
thinks that.
that's like going back into Victorian era.
The government's probably pretending to be a person and they're printing that.
Dude. Speaking about political leaders that are like super old, when's the Pope gonna die, man? The Pope and the Queen need to go.
Well, the Queen can't do anything. The Queen's an entirely...
Queen's got a lot of money, man. Queen's got a lot of money invested into European politics.
Well, but like she technically owns a lot of that stuff, but I think a lot of it technically belongs to the English government. Like it's a weird like I don't know. Like she like technically owns the crown jewels or whatever. But they're
Yeah.
not gonna let her like
She's got a
sell the
lot of
crown
money.
jewels.
Yeah, but like have you seen her net worth?
No.
Jeff Bezos tops her. That's it. Well, I imagine a few other people, but she's stupid rich,
Amazon
you know?
God himself tops pretty much everything on this point.
Yeah, that dude's stupid rich. But
Unless that Chinese guy is still
yeah, that's
number
fake. I don't believe that a Chinese dude would manage to become.
one. I do.
Does he live in China?
Probably
actually,
not. He lives
maybe-
in, he lives in America.
Oh, okay. I was about to
But
say
I think he runs a bunch of stuff in
maybe
China.
what's that Chinese phone called? It's like the only phone in China.
The plus one.
No.
I don't
Starts with a Y.
know.
They tried to sell it here in America. I would assume that's the richest Chinese guy ever.
Probably.
You know,
Just 'cause
unless
there's so
you
many
talk
people
about
over there,
Genghis
so-
Khan and stuff like that.
Hmm?
Unless you talk about like Genghis Khan and stuff like that. That dude wasn't even Chinese. That dude was Mongolian.
Yeah.
But
it's funny to me that Mongolia is a country.
is it?
Yeah, right above China.
I don't know my geography. Really?
Yeah. I don't
China's
know
like
why
its own
there.
thing. You know, that makes a lot of sense considering that whatever was below China, what was it? Like, remember when that whole
Korea's off to the
internment camp?
side.
No.
What's-
No. Remember that whole internment camp that was going on? Like that whole like Chinese protesters are getting sent to no,
Oh, yeah.
somebody
They probably just
protesters.
shoot them.
What
It's true.
was it? It was somebody. I have to look it up now. It was some country's protesters. It's literally right below China.
Oh,
and they-
Hong Kong.
Yeah. So
Well, 'cause-
Hong Kong made a pact, or not a pact. They made an act with China that allowed them to export.
Yep, they were going to extradite. China could extradite whoever they wanted.
Can you
And
imagine?
so China was going to start extraditing all the people speaking out against China. And everybody gets shot as soon as they make
Because-
the Chinese
Well,
exit.
because Europe is
Well,
about to
so-
give Hong Kong back to China.
Not Europe, England.
England. Well,
England owned Hong Kong, and then they had a lease. They had a lease on a country, or for some reason.
well,
Treaty-
because of the Opium Wars.
yeah, they had a treaty on it for 100 years or whatever.
Mm.
And so the lease is up, so they said, all right, well, we got to give it back. Well, Hong Kong's a democratic state.
Kind of.
It's better than China.
Pretty much run by China, but yeah,
Well, they're trying. at
they
least.
use the same currency, right?
I don't think so. They have
I
their
think they
own.
do. Nah, I think they do.
They might.
Because
It'd
what
make
else are you
more
gonna
sense.
pay them in? Like the Chinese dollar isn't gonna be worth more than whatever currency Hong Kong has
No, but Hong Kong's supported by more of the world than China is.
right now.
Well,
or
yeah, until it
a
gets
year
eaten
ago.
alive. Well, that's what's funny about this virus, and that's why I thought it was so strange because this virus came around right when Hong Kong protests were stopping everything in that country.
I don't think. Okay,
There are so many
That's-
protesters.
that's such a stretch.
I'm not saying that that's a. I'm just saying it's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
I'm not making a point that that's where the virus came from. I'm just saying it's funny that happened at the same.
Look, dude, China stopped releasing their numbers, right? On purpose.
They were probably fake from the beginning.
Probably, maybe.
Like Russia says they don't really have any cases.
I would believe it. It's too cold.
No, but there's so much industrialized right next to all the other European nations. They're not really. Nobody lives on that border with China, but
Yeah,
they
but-
all live over there in the.
Yeah, but Europe
West.
doesn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Italy, England,
A lot of
Britain,
them shut down. A lot of them had a lot of quarantine.
Netherlands,
Not as bad as
Switzerland,
us.
all those people up there in the mountains. They have no problem with that. First of all, they don't touch each other in general
No,
you know,
yeah.
because they don't see another human being maybe for like once a week.
Let's see what world on. Let me pull up world
Yeah, you
on.
do that. Man, I gotta get another mic like this for you.
the fancy one.
Yeah, well, because my cousin had this, and she was like, "Yeah, take it." And so I didn't actually have to run to Guitar Center because
Nice.
Guitar Center was. First of all, Guitar Center opens at 12,
In the afternoon.
12:30, yeah, p.m.
That's an interesting
Weird,
time.
right? Because who's gonna like wait that long? But I guess enough people
Hey, that's
waited
a
that
pretty
long.
dope place to work, though.
What, Guitar Center?
it opens at 12. It
Yeah,
probably closes at
okay,
like 8 or
but
something.
like retail, right? You only get paid by the hour, so
Yeah.
technically it sucks
Yeah.
because you can't make ends meet.
Probably
Gu-
most of the retail jobs.
I bet you working at Guitar Center, you already barely make ends meet. So having your
Yeah.
hours cut in half is
Well,
probably
it's
not a good
it's
thing.
not a living wage.
Right.
It's not meant to be a living wage.
Nothing's a living wage anymore, unless you go to college or
Well,
pick up like hard
not-
labor degrees like welding or HVAC or
Mm, I mean,
contract work.
you can get a job that's living wage.
Yeah.
But you do need some. You generally
Okay,
need some sort
but
of.
you used to be able to work at a plastic factory for $7-8 an hour and pay for your gas, your bills, your rent,
Yeah.
your car payment,
Oh yeah.
and maybe you'd have to pick up another
Because
job.
factory owners actually paid people a better wage
No,
than minimum
That's
wage.
because greedy ass people who charge rent and charge bills skyrocketed prices.
Because taxes go up. Taxes go up. Prices go up.
True. That's Bush's fault.
Nah, I mean that's
All
just,
hail Bush.
that's just the problem when people start touching minimum wage and taxes and stuff. Because then everything else goes up too. That's why you can't. That's why money isn't worth as much in California than it is.
You
in other
can't.
states.
But you can't blame minimum wage for prices going up. I hadn't, you know what?
No, it's just
that-
an odd
that reminds
side
me.
thing.
I had an argument with Colin. I had an argument with Colin about like
Yeah, Russia has the third most coronavirus cases.
really.
After Brazil and then the United States.
Oh
is first.
shit! I didn't even think about South America.
Yeah, South America probably
Dude,
just
that
died.
sucks.
They have nothing down there.
Dude, that sucks.
I mean, I guess like
I don't
what is
know.
it
I
on the
think
bottom?
South America's
Argentina.
South America.
Argentina's pretty chill.
Well, it's because all the Nazis.
Brazil is
Because
just
all the
poor as
Nazis
dirt.
live there.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the medical knowledge in South America is pretty good. You just probably aren't
Mm.
safe enough to practice,
It's probably not very.
and
good.
that's
I mean,
that's
the
probably
doctors,
pretty like iffy to say. I guarantee you.
the
I can.
doctors that are there are probably good.
Oh yeah.
There's just not any doctors.
Well, the doctors there have to be really good at like fungal viruses and stuff like that.
fungal viruses.
Yeah, like wet viruses
Fungal
Fungal
infections
infections
or viruses.
or viruses that you get from like living in rain 24/7. You know what I mean? In sheet metal buildings.
Yeah, this says we have 1.665, 1.6 million coronavirus cases in the United States.
Really? Dude, can you imagine
Out
if
of the
1
5 million, or the 5.3 million in the world reported. Of course, this also says China only has 82,000 cases.
Yeah, they stopped. They were like, just cut the
That-
books.
They were just like, eh.
You know what's scary?
What?
So, China's like super populated, right? Like everybody knows
Oh,
that.
yeah. What's it's
Dude.
overly dense.
India's about to surpass them in population numbers.
Probably. They're
Dude,
even worse.
What if the virus gets to India?
It is in India. It's everywhere. It's in
India
every,
has
it's in
w-
every country. in the
India's
world.
got worse situations.
India
China.
is number 11. It's above China.
It's got worse situations than China. Yeah, but how many people in India are going to report that virus to medical
well, it doesn't
staff?
matter if you report it. They can't get tested. Probably.
Plus, they're in the middle of a war with
Whatever that is above it.
no.
Pakistan.
So they were
They don't like Pakistan. Right?
Bangladesh was sending troops through India to get to there's another country off to the right, like between China or between.
One of those small Asian countries, whatever they're called.
I had a friend from him. His name was Yu, and he said by the time he was like hard ass, bro. He was like in a gang and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he said it's almost necessary for you to do it there to stay safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
In India or in the smaller country?
no. It's a smaller country up to the right. I have to look. Hold on. I guess I'll just world map.
Yeah, it's funny how some of these countries, like what is this? This country called Lesotho supposedly only has 2 cases. Papua New Guinea had 8, and they all have recovered. Greenland only had 11, my guy. Greenland wins again at that play game.
Yeah, I have an Android, so like, I can't really see. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Greenland had 11 cases, and all 11 of them recovered.
Nepal. I was thinking of Nepal.
Oh.
So
There's not really anything in Nepal.
I mean, mountains, really cool mountains.
That's not a very good resource.
But India is trying to invade Nepal. Like they're sending troops
know
through
that.
Bangladesh to get to Nepal.
Is that where Gurkhas are from?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Nepal? It was one of those. I forget.
That's terrifying though. Right?
Gurkhas are terrifying.
So you have Indian troops going through Bangladesh to get to Nepal,
Mm-hmm.
which is literally next to China, right? So you have Chinese people coming into contact with Palanese people, and then those people who are also getting invaded by the Indian troops, right? And this is a stretch, assuming that the virus is jumping that far.
Yeah. No,
But,
I mean, it's jumped the entire
dude,
world.
yeah.
So.
But like, do you know the transportation situation in India?
What do you mean? Just
Like,
how it's
they
like,
all stack on trains and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, because they're overpopulated. Their public system can't compensate for it, and they're so poor that they can't have cars. I mean, I think they have, like, those, what do they call? Little motorcycle things that people ride in?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Like taxis, but not taxis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have, like, those things, because that's all they can afford.
Dude, that's going to be devastating.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's going to reach the Middle East? Oh,
Oh,
man.
it already reached the middle. It already reached the whole world, dude. You got to pull this up.
Yeah.
This Worldometers coronavirus tracker. They've got all the reported cases.
Yeah, I don't want to look at that. It'll give me nightmares.
Nah. Apparently, Iran has 133,000.
Oh, yeah?
But it's funny how
Only 133?
yeah, it's funny how that works, right? Because I'm sure Iran has an accurate count on coronavirus cases.
They don't even have an accurate count on their criminal record.
They don't have an active government. They don't have a.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure it's just
It's Iran.
not working
Yeah.
as intended.
Let's see.
Like,
I wonder how many cases North Korea has had.
North Korea. Oh, well, that's not getting out, right?
I wouldn't think so.
This is kind of a cruel thing to say, but I kind of wish Kim Jong-un died.
Well, so people were worried about that because everybody said his sister was going to be worse. Remember?
Yeah, but we can kill his sister. We can't kill him.
We could if we wanted to.
No, because Trump's now friends with him.
And
You know how bad that would look?
You know how much probably the CIA does without telling the president, or not the CIA, but whatever secret whatever.
I
stuff
feel
we
like
don't know
North
about?
Korea is one of the only countries the CIA can't touch. Well, okay, first of all, how are you going to get an Asian CIA agent? Second of all, how are you going to get him to
We're
blend in
We're
with the
America.
brainwashed,
We
like,
could probably just pay another country's secret agent. to
the
do it for us.
slums in North Korea? You can't even, half of them don't even speak their own
You
language.
can go to, or well, I guess you used to be able to. They
No.
probably don't let you anymore.
Not after that whole thing that happened 2 years ago with the dude who, like,
No, that's still. But you'd have to like it's real scuffed because that was where like you'd go to China, and you'd have to talk to an agency there, and then you could go to North Korea, and you'd be like the only American in the country at the time, and you'd be followed by like 8 people all the time. Like there'd be like a government agent sleeping in your room with you.
there's, like, no cartoons either
Oh, there's
on
nothing.
TV. There's no televised, like, entertainment other than the news.
Oh yeah.
What do you do, man?
You're
That sounds really
probably-
weird,
you
but,
work
like,
all day. They're out there in the fields desperately trying to grow
like,
enough food to
supply their
feed
own food,
themselves.
become self-sufficient.
Cause
It's impossible. They're dying.
They have famines constantly.
Yeah, duh. You know,
They can't.
look at the dude running their country.
Yeah.
Probably
Well, I mean,
eating them
the fact that he's
alive.
the fact he's not dead and that the country hasn't collapsed, he's, a good leader. In the fact that he's a good dictator. He's a good dictator in that he's held his power and he hasn't fallen apart, which is pretty impressive.
He's good at making connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he talked to our president,
Yeah.
which, to go off on another tangent, what a fucking idiot, right?
Yeah.
Like our president. I'm not on the hate Trump train. I genuinely don't like the guy,
Yeah.
right? Socially, politically, or economically, he's made okay decisions,
Yeah.
right? But he throws too many curveballs. He's
He
always,
just shifts around a lot.
oh yeah, he's a business guy. He's
Yeah. It's
probably as
understandable
flexible
why.
as the stock market.
It's a lot different than what we're used to. We're used to people who take a very party line stance on things.
Yeah, you know what? I really am impressed that he's been able to cover up the fact that we're in a recession at the moment pretty well.
He hasn't really covered it up. It was on the news.
I mean, yeah, but we're on.
We had the single biggest day drop, considering.
It's because people aren't working.
Black Friday or not Black Friday. What am I thinking of? When the stock market crashed back in the 40s, we had a worse drop than that.
Yeah.
And it's mostly fine. We're not starving to death yet.
Yeah, but comes the issue.
Stocks are, stock market's
Our
rebounding.
deficit's gonna grow.
Oh yeah.
Big time. Well, everybody's is.
It was always gonna grow.
Yeah, that's why I say ditch currency and resort to trading.
Nah, but then you have a lot of other problems.
Then you can't have a government.
Huh?
Then you can't have a government.
No, you could have a government.
No.
It just wouldn't
There'd be no centralized currency to run the
You don't
society.
I wouldn't say you really need a centralized
I do.
currency. There's many countries that use other countries' currencies where they don't control their own money. I don't know why they do that, but they do. It would make everything a lot
Easier.
more difficult. No, not easier.
Yeah. I trade you 3 chickens for 1 cow. We're good. I get milk, you get eggs.
I don't know about 3 chickens to a cow. I think I get at least like 5.
Well, if you don't have any chickens, but you have a lot of
Probably
cows.
weight. I would say I get a similar amount of weight in chickens
Nah.
to a cow.
No. What? No. How about I give you a rooster
Depending
and
on
2
what you're gonna
chicks?
use 'em
I
for.
give you a rooster and 2 hens.
If you
and
give
you give
somebody
me-
laying chickens, then they get less chickens
No.
per cow.
Listen, no. I give you a rooster and 2 hens, and you give me a cow and a calf. That's a good deal.
Probably just the cow.
Mm,
The cow.
No, because then I'd have to go somewhere else to buy the bull. But now you have you've essentially created infinite chickens. Because not only do you have a rooster, but you have 2 hens. Right?
Yeah, but then you have
Double
to
the
hope that
fertility rate.
You have to hope for the correct amount of creation. Do chickens have problems with like inbreeding, with like genetic problems with that?
Not really. I mean,
I would think they would.
if you're
That's
around a
how
lot
it
of
works.
chemicals, anything can have a lot of problems with that. Animals don't really have incest problems. Lions, okay, let me tell you this. Lions in a pride, when the son takes over, like the alpha, like the alpha son, if he takes over the pride, he mates with all the women,
Mhm.
including his mom. Right?
Yeah.
You just never see it in domestic animals because everything gets spayed and neutered.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because
It's like a
there's
horny
already
teenager.
So many homeless animals running around.
Yeah, it's like a horny teenager, you know? Probably jerks off to his aunt. Doesn't really, it's whatever. She's not technically family.
I'd be careful on that one.
Yeah, well, it happens.
I would be careful on that one.
Your uncle's wife, 100% isn't family. Your uncle's family, you know? It's some Alabama shit, dude.
Yeah.
When you get into like cousins and stuff. How do you rationalize that without feeling ultimate remorse? You're just like, oh,
Well,
they're half blood.
I'm
It
not-
doesn't matter that much.
Well, I was listening to something about it was an actual podcast where they were talking about a weird family that had done that, and they had a psychologist on there talking about it, and they said, well, these families become so especially in Alabama. That's where it's a problem because they live up in the mountains by themselves. They don't come into contact with anyone else.
No, they don't.
They don't go talk to anyone. So
Yeah, but
all
they don't
have is
need
their
to.
Family,
You don't need to.
and then that breaks into your brain after a little while.
They have mutated family members.
Mhm.
You grow third toe and extra balance.
Well, there were the blue people wherever, weren't there? Wasn't that some weird, or was that fake? Did Did you ever see that?
No.
There's supposedly some blue people somewhere because they had inbred so many times.
I feel like in general, there's 2 rules when having children, right? You do it at an age where, sorry, 3 rules. You do it at an age where you're financially responsible.
Yeah.
You do it at an age late enough, but also early enough to where you won't give your child any birth defects. And then,
Well, age doesn't hurt.
oh yeah, oh, Down
as
syndrome. Oh my god.
Age isn't as important as your personal genetics.
Sure,
Because like if you have some sort of weird disease
but
where it's probably going to
you're
kill the
more
baby.
likely to give your child Down syndrome if you're like 60 years old or like 50
Well, yeah,
over
you're
35
saying,
years
you're
old.
saying like a kind of an more extreme kind of
Well,
age.
that's real. Like,
Yeah.
people have kids at 50 years old. They're like, why is my kid broken? It's because your genes are breaking. You're dying.
There was a family I know of that's like that example.
Yeah.
The kids turned out alright, but it's that kind of deal, and it's very strange.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. And, oh, third rule, make sure they're not in your family. Like, because I think that's how we got where we are today. It's like some chimps had incest with each other, and they were like, this one doesn't have hair. We should kill it. And then they were like, no. Let's see where this goes. And now we're here.
What,
And now we're stupid.
You don't believe in whatever the story is? Adam and Eve.
Oh, God. Look, man, you can believe in whatever you want. I don't care. Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Catholic, Judaist. No, save it, because we're gonna get on that in a second.
My guy.
It's my favorite religion.
That's
Realism.
That flag. That's what I'm gonna need you to put on the cover of the podcast.
Hand me that.
Hand you what?
The controller.
That one.
Yep. Oh man, rip.
That's Rip Mike. Oh.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna have to cut all of that out.
No, I'm not. No, you're gonna have to live with it. But so sorry. He wants to hear this, so I'm gonna let him. Anyways, so yeah, you can believe in whatever you want to believe in, man. But my brother made a really good point, right? He said that there's so many logical fallacies within like believing in what he said, a sky wizard.
Sky Wizard.
Which he's very flagrant when it comes to his stance against religion, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. He lived in a Christian household and he was raised by my mom, who was, took him to church and stuff like that. My grandma was Catholic, my dad was raised that way. But yeah, you can believe whatever you want. Like, it doesn't bother me unless you make it bother me.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you try to use it to influence my life.
Like a couple months ago, right? I went to church for the first time in 10 years.
I
And
don't think I've ever actually been to a church service.
yeah, well, it's pretty cool. Beyond
It
the
probably is
culty,
pretty
well,
cool.
beyond the culty chanting of the choir,
Well, but it probably is an interesting experience.
it's a good community building exercise.
I think that's what it was. That's more what I think it was for.
But you can do community building exercises without religion.
Yeah. That's why we're gonna become Freemasons.
That's secretive.
No,
That's
it's community
different.
building.
Don't talk about. Okay, look, I don't want to get assassinated, man.
We're becoming Freemasons, my guy.
Keep this off the Tommy C and HD show.
In like 15 years.
I'm
when we
down.
graduate
15
college.
years? I'm doing it over the summer. What you mean,
You
boy?
gotta graduate college first, because you have to pay dues. You have to actually.
Oh, really? Huh.
They said it's like some sort of nominal dues, but you're also expected to contribute a lot to charity.
That sounds less enticing.
Yeah, but then also at the same time, a Freemason is obligated to help another Freemason unless they have broken the law. So, when you're going into that job interview and you have a Freemason ring on and the other guy has a Freemason ring on, you have a higher than standard chance of getting that job.
I still want to know what they do. I don't know why they just can't come out and be like, here's what we do.
They said, I told you about that. They said
Yeah.
that they don't tell people because it helps with recruiting people to join. And then they also said it because it doesn't mean anything unless
Yeah, but then
understand.
but
what
then
we're
you
talking
told me the other day that like you still have to believe in something under certain houses or
Well,
lodges.
in certain countries, the Grand Lodge of France will take atheists, and so now there's like a weird,
Yeah, but
there's
okay.
like a mini schism right now. It's so bizarre.
But can you imagine like that doesn't think about how many Freemasons there might be in Texas, right?
Oh, it's publicly listed.
Yeah.
How many Freemasons there are? And if you're a Freemason, it's publicly listed. So
What about the law? Like think about the lodges in Texas, right?
there's one down the street.
There's no way they're not going to there's no way they're going to let you in without you believing in something. In something.
Yeah, but they don't care what.
I don't believe in anything. I don't care enough to believe in anything. I just want to become a Freemason and see what it's all about. And if it's cool enough, I'll stick around. You know? Wait, is it like a once a Freemason, always a Freemason?
No, you can leave.
Okay, cool. Because if I want to leave and they're like, all right, give us your ring finger. And I'm like,
They're going to John Wick you.
Oh, God.
I'm going to need you to cut off your finger for me.
You see what I mean, though? Like,
You
it'd be
leave.
really hard to find a lodge in Texas that
Hey,
doesn't make you believe in anything.
Join, well, no, I think the Grand Lodge takes a stance that you have to profess belief in. But they just say you have to profess belief in a higher being, and they're very
Vague.
about it.
Okay.
So I think you could get away with not much.
Okay, well, I'm turning into a realist. But
I don't know about that. That's aliens, my guy.
Yeah, but it's
That's-
a higher power.
Nah, that would be funny. That would be a funny argument to take.
They would have never heard of it before. I've never heard of realism before until like
Until we
a
pushed
year
random-
ago.
Until we pushed random
Until we
on Wikipedia.
found it on Wikipedia. You still think that's true? Like, you think realism is actually like a thing?
Yeah, it's on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is actually.
There's a realism book.
Is there actually?
Yeah. Oh, they changed their symbol.
Or what is it now?
It's like a spiral in front of the Judaeus star.
People finally got mad enough about it.
I don't think they got mad. I just think they noticed.
Well, for some reason Israel didn't let them exist in their country. So, for some
Yeah, it's kind of funny that it was a Nazi. Yeah. So for the listeners that don't know what realism is, which you should totally look into it.
it's so dumb, but it's really strange.
It's it's a religion founded upon a UFO in like the 1970s in France by a dude named Claude Verthon, or he's known as Rael. So he's like the Grand Priest.
Yeah, the Grand Priest.
And it says it's a new religious movement, right?
Yeah, well, semi-new by this point. But
Right.
It's
So
probably.
here's the weird thing. It started in France.
Mm,
Do you want to know where its headquarters is at?
where?
Switzerland.
It's a good place to have a headquarters.
It's a good place to keep secret shit,
Well, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, nothing's in Area 51. That's all in Eastern Alaska, dude. Like,
Nah, dude.
if you go near
Oh.
Eastern Alaska, you know how many state troopers are in Eastern Alaska?
Did you know that we have a working plasma gun? The United States Air Force has a working plasma
You
gun.
know, I don't care. Like,
They
honestly,
made it in the early 90s.
just another death machine, man. Like,
made
they're
it
like,
in
we
the
should make
early
the A-10
90s.
too, and we should make it shoot faster. Why? What's the point?
So you hit more things.
Oh, yeah, because we totally need to rip apart mountains in the Middle East more efficiently than we already do.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Efficiency is always better.
No. That's a waste of...
The faster you kill
Resources.
things, the less time you're there.
It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of bullets.
Besides, how would America function without the military-industrial complex?
Well, we just, kill all the retards and... That's what I was really hoping this virus would have done. Like an IQ test, but deadly,
Don't start your IQ tested thing.
you know?
You can't kill people based on IQ.
Sure you can.
Eh,
Sure you can. We should give everybody
haven't they
a
made
social
movies about that?
aptitude test.
I don't know about that either.
And
I'd
then-
fail that.
No, you wouldn't. I've taught you enough. But we should do it. We should totally give everybody a social aptitude test. And if you can't pass, like, above, like, 60%, donezo. Sorry.
Dunzo.
Yeah. Because that
I
way
don't
we
think
rid
you
all the
have good
sociopaths, right? we rid all the religious freaks, and then we have a nice, balanced society where everybody understands how to feel regardless if you're an asshole or not. At least you get it. You know what I mean?
I don't know about killing them, but then you could have some sort of weird
Okay, we won't kill them.
intensive training to help them.
We won't kill. No, that's a waste of rehabilitation
Rehabilitation.
resources.
Yeah.
No, we would just put them in farms and make them harvest resources for us. You know? And then we would release them 15 years later.
Well, actually, probably a better way to do it would be to give them the government to give them some sort of
Payout.
basic job where they're not going to break anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's actually probably not a bad idea. More government jobs.
I want you to speak closer to your mic. Not that.
How
oh God, please.
Dare you?
Not that close. Just a little closer.
All right.
Yeah, because I can see it. It's like picking up, kind of.
Not picking up quite right.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm just
that
retarded.
better?
Never mind. Yeah, don't get too close because it'll scuff the volume. Just that that happy medium. If you can like speak,
Right there.
if you can see the green bar, you're good.
All right. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
What were we talking about? Realism.
Professionals.
Yeah. Okay. So, the whole basis upon realism is it's a group called the IRM, the International Raelian Movement, which is kind of weird. I mean, like
Ripping off the IRA right
or
there.
Raelian Church, but you think about it, the name implies what it's about, right? The
Yeah.
Raelian aliens.
I think
Oh
you
no,
should-
they
you should
didn't
just-
change their symbol.
You should just skip to the part where you say what their symbol is.
Okay, their symbols.
And just get everyone to be angry.
Their symbol is so if you take the Star of David and you gut out the middle, and you put a Nazi flag, or a Nazi swastika. You put a swastika in the middle.
Swastika.
Right.
That's
I'm-
what That's what these geniuses decided that their religious flag was going to
To
be. They decided.
to be honest,
They
right?
decided. All right, so we're going to put the Star of David and put a swastika on top.
Well, you think about it, right?
Now the swastika didn't used to mean.
That's what
it did,
That's what I was about to say.
but
Well,
you
peace
can't
in
undo
Jews
that.
or peace in the stars, right?
But now you can't undo that because now it's a swastika.
You can try.
Like Germany, you can't have a swastika on anything, or you get fined. You can't. You probably can't even talk about World War II Germany because they'll probably get mad at you.
Unless you're talking shit.
Oh, that's true.
Anyways, their scripture states that the aliens designed the human race. It's based upon intelligent design. It's a message from the designers. Sensual meditation is the core of practice. And it's meant to encourage the welcoming of extraterrestrials. They have their own type of clothing.
Oh God. I didn't know.
Yeah, like beige robes.
Of
The
course,
best I can
beige
describe
robes.
it. The best I can describe it
It's
is
Jedi robes.
there's a
like that.
rune. There's this outfit on Terraria called the Rune Wizard outfit. It almost mimics. Actually, have you seen a picture of the Lunar Cultists?
No.
Look it up. Lunar Cultists Terraria. That's what it. That's probably what they based it on, because they're cultists about the Moon Lord or whatever, and it's pretty funny. We should see if we can find any realism church is in Texas, and we should invite a large group of people in mass.
That's a bad idea.
Why is that a bad idea?
Screwing with cultists in Texas does not end well.
There's no cults in Texas.
Waco, baby.
That's not a cult.
That
First of
technically was
all,
a cult.
they got eradicated.
Technically, it was a cult.
Technically, they're dead. You want to talk about a cult?
Pretty much all of them. Are
Look in Arkansas, where like that's what Far Cry
We don't
5 was.
Talk about Arkansas.
That's what Far Cry
We
5
don't
was
talk
based
about
off of,
Arkansas.
right? A whole community self-sufficient from the whole modern world, right?
Yeah.
They live off all their own. They have mass amounts of military weapons, possibly nukes. Nobody knows because
Well,
you can't get in.
You might
because
have a
you're not
nuclear
inbred.
bomb.
They don't let anybody in. There's 400 people in that place, in Arkansas.
Oh, that's not very many.
All of them are inbred.
Probably.
That's insane.
Arkansas, though.
That's insane. That started from one family of like 15 people. and grew into 400. That's some Outlast 2 shit, dude. You ever watched Outlast 2?
I haven't.
It's pretty cool.
I got freaked out after Outlast 1.
Why?
Dude, Outlast, because isn't he like running around in an insane asylum or something?
Doesn't matter.
With like freaky
Doesn't have
creatures
to-
walking around.
No.
And he gets his fingers chopped
They're
off.
experiments, first of all. They're like human experiments. Like the big swole guy, Piggy,
Mm.
he was a veteran that got like injected with mass amounts of steroids. And so he just goes around ripping everybody in the hospital in half.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's not specifically
So he's
targeting
like,
you. He's just trying to kill everything.
What's his name? From that Deadpool 2 movie.
Juggernaut?
Juggernaut.
Yep.
Rips Deadpool in half.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The other thing wrong with what were we talking about?
Realism?
No. We're gonna scrap all that because I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about inbred communities.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, like before that, we were talking about like the third rule, like make sure you're not inbred. What are the like problems that come? Because I know it's like mental deficiencies and physical mutations.
Well, so it has to do with recessive genes. When you put pairs of recessive genes together, you get the recessive traits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why that causes a problem. Because then if you have a pair, because then the recessive traits are usually bad traits that cause problems.
Mm.
And so if you're inbred, well, then you get more recessive traits, ergo you have more bad problems.
Yeah, and I guess
As long
it's
as
like
you're
in
mixing
the
together.
genetic world, a negative and a negative equals a double negative.
Well, so as
'Cause-
long as it's not a double negative, it ends out as a positive. Because as long as there's a stronger gene,
Yeah.
you know, remember all the Punnett square crap?
Yeah.
Like 3 of the 4 are gonna equal a normal setting,
Yeah.
but if you have double recessive, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's pretty confusing.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
not-
very, it's very
Yeah.
minute genetics.
Just don't do it, man. You know, regardless on how hot your cousin is, or your aunt, or anybody in your family. Just don't.
Or
Just
your
don't.
third cousin, or whatever it is these people come up
Dude.
with.
Did I ever tell you about my friend who found out that he did stuff with his cousin?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, his name starts with a C.
Nice.
I don't want you to. Yeah, that was the first story he ever told me in high school.
That is unfortunate.
It was bad. That was like it's still a running joke. Like whenever he tries to come back at me,
Yeah, you better not spread that
tell
too
him,
far.
shut the fuck up.
Get out
Fuck
of
your
here.
cousin. It's like second cousin, third time removed.
Third time removed.
I don't even
never
know what that
understood
means.
meant.
Me neither.
Well, I think it was.
Removed cousin. So that means that it's your step aunt or step uncle's
So you're literally
son.
not related. You're
No,
like
not at
basically
all.
not related.
Right. But it's still pretty funny, right? Because it's your cousin.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's like rationalizing that your stepsister would be okay.
Yeah.
Which is the majority of the porn industry. Right?
I never understood that.
I don't either.
It was so strange.
But I still watch it.
Oh boy.
Some of it's pretty good, you know? You know what? If the actor's hot, the actor's hot, okay?
Yeah.
I'll give it a look. I'm not, I mean,
But then in the back of your brain, you're still reading in the quote unquote.
yeah.
porn.
And when that post-nut clarity kicks in and you're just like, oh, God.
What have I done?
What have I done? That's with everything, though. It can literally be the cleanest, most vanilla video on earth, and you'd be like,
What have I done?
yeah, staring at your hands.
Please no.
You know what I think it is?
What?
I think it's your body recognize you just committed homicide of potential prodigies. Think it's your body kicking in and being like, you suck.
You have failed it. You
Because
have failed
every
at your
time,
one job.
you nut during intercourse, it doesn't feel that way. You walk out feeling happy, like a new guy. You're both happy. You feel succeeded. Why is it that when we jerk off and finish, we're like, man, I want to kill myself?
Well, I mean, you know,
It's your body telling you committed homicide.
Evolutionarily speaking, you have one purpose in life.
Monkeys did it. Okay, Monkeys jerk off.
Evolutionarily speaking, you have one purpose in life, and after that, you're supposed to die.
Okay, we're not fruit flies. Alright. We've developed morality. Okay?
We got the
Sentience.
no, the front part, frontal lobe. We have a frontal lobe. That's why we're cool.
Oh, speaking about sentience, that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. We have like 16 minutes left before we're good. Dude, we had a discussion about what considers to be sentient life the other day.
Yeah.
And you said thought. You said higher level thinking.
Yeah, well,
I
'cause
disagree.
most of like the actual definitions for sentience, it's usually based off of comparative to us.
Everything's comparative to us when we're talking about morality
Now, when
complexes.
we're saying we're sentient, right?
Right.
So that means it has to be something like us. That's when I say comparative to us.
In a sense, I would disagree. I would think any animal that has the ability to rationalize consequence from action is sentient.
Mhm.
So, sharks, dolphins, not sea turtles.
Not sea
You know, it scratch sharks too, because sharks are pretty
Let's see
dumb.
what the actual definition of sentient.
Anything that acts with curiosity and beyond instinct is sentient. Like a dog can learn. A cat can learn. A dolphin can learn. Anything that can absorb knowledge and like recite it or memorize it, you know what I mean? Even if it's just an action, I would prove to be sentient. Because like a deer, you could say a deer's not sentient. Or like a turkey's not sentient.
Chickens aren't sentient.
Chickens aren't sentient. But I think the
Chickens are
definition of
brain
sentient states anything with like a heart. Because rocks aren't sentient. Obviously.
Because they're not alive.
Because they're rocks.
You have to be alive to even be in the running for sentience. Well, but then you get into AIs.
I'm still waiting for that one day where we come across that one race of alien that are just the same amount of assholes as we are, and they fuck us up.
Well, if we
they're
ever come
like-
across aliens, we're probably gonna shoot them before we even know what they are.
No, the government's gonna kill it. I'm pretty sure
No,
the
you
general.
would
I'm
too.
pretty sure the general
Dude,
public.
if you're driving down the road at midnight in the backcountry, and you
Are we
see
talking
a
about cryptids
UFO,
or aliens?
you're getting lifted up by a UFO.
Okay,
Or by lifted
I'm gonna
up by a
freak.
cryptid.
I'm gonna freak.
By either one, and one's standing in the middle of the road, and it's like, "Come with me." You're gonna pull a gun
Okay,
and shoot it.
there's a difference though. There's a difference. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be like, all right, I hate
Well,
myself
if you see
enough.
something, a
Let's see where
big
this goes.
weird creature standing there, making weird sounds, grabbing at you, you're probably gonna shoot. You're
Grabbing
gonna
at
wanna
me.
hit it.
Sure, but if it asks me, it's like, hey,
If it
come with
speaks
me.
English, you're
It's
gonna
like,
be
hey,
freaked out.
or like telekinetically, if it's like, come with me, and you're like, okay. You know what I mean?
I
I
don't
would
think you're
say,
gonna say okay.
I would say okay.
You're not gonna say okay.
I have a strong confidence that I would say okay. I'd be like, dude, let's do it. As long as I don't get probed in the anus.
52 years when the aliens come, I'd like to.
There's a
test it.
difference. I feel like there'd be a difference of feeling between aliens and cryptids. You see a cryptid, you're like, that's death. Like,
You know,
I'm done.
There's supposed to be like that Goat Man thing in Denton.
No, it's, well, yeah,
There's
but
a Goat Man bridge.
no, that's here.
No, it's in.
It's at the Nature Center.
No, it's in Denton.
Well, there's another Goatman Bridge
Oh, that's
at the Nature
unfortunate.
Center.
I didn't know there were two.
hmm
I know that it's in Denton because
The legend is probably in Denton. The one where the girl gets kidnapped. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. I just
Disappeared?
know that there's one where people say,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, we're standing on this bridge that's not used anymore, and we can see it."
There's a place in the Nature Center where it's an island separated by
oh, yeah, no, you don't
by a
touch
lake.
that.
Not a
Don't go
lake.
over there.
Well, yeah, actually a lake. Fossil Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah. That lake, that island in the middle of the lake.
Mhm.
Supposedly it's Goatman Island.
Mm,
Supposedly.
Yeah, it must be.
I've never been over there. I don't really care to be over there either. I don't.
No,
I don't
I'm
want to
good.
find out. You know what I mean?
want to go on the small island in the middle of the lake.
I feel like.
Get grabbed by a
Anyways,
minotaur-looking thing.
My point is that a cryptid. Okay, Goatman wouldn't scare me. Goatman's like half man, half goat.
Yeah, but he's gonna be like 6 foot, 7 foot tall in this
Okay.
weird goat creature.
Fuck me up. I don't care. Then you see something
Yeah,
like
but if you get killed by Goat Man,
it's bipedal. It's not that intimidating. Once you see something like on that's quadrupedal,
dude, if you
if it
dude,
crawls,
if you see a
floor it.
goat walking towards you,
Mhm.
you're not gonna have a fun time.
I'd probably just have an aneurysm and die.
Yeah.
My brain wouldn't be able to it'd be like turn off. Nope.
Nope, not dealing
Nope.
with it.
Mm-mm.
I'm
You
good.
can eat me when I'm dead. How about that?
You ain't having me while I'm alive.
But like, if something's in the forest, like in Alito,
Yes.
and it's super dark, like no lights out there, yeah, that's
Being wrecked
terrifying.
By, what would live out there?
Skinwalker,
Skinwalker?
Wendigo, like the weird Wendigos with the antlers
No,
and the
all
hair
that lives to the west of us, doesn't it?
in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
There's mountains here
Texas is pretty flat.
in West Texas. You know what? In West Texas,
Texas
near
is
Fort
pretty
Davis, dude. Fort Davis
said
is
pretty
built
flat.
on a mountain.
Flat. Texas is pretty flat.
Yeah, but like, okay, so out in Fort Davis, there's no lights.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean like at all. Like
Yeah.
we went out there in the pitch dark. You can see the edge of the galaxy. It's insane. It's so cool.
No light pollution.
But then you look down, and you see a gaping maw of pitch black darkness. God knows whatever's down there. That's why I hate the human brain.
Well, that's a survival thing because your brain, it's a lot easier to be paranoid about something being there than to not care. Because even though you may never find something in the dark, you're still looking for it. Because then when something is there, you'll have the appropriate response rather than just lying down and falling asleep and it killing you in your sleep.
Yeah, but if something like a skinwalker approaches you, there's no chance of survival.
Yeah, you're sure.
Anything with claws longer than its fingers, and you're pretty much dead. I don't think I could fist fight a tiger.
What about like a leshen or whatever those are called? Those tree things?
Oh, bye. No.
Witcher?
Yeah.
Those things? I hate those things. Where it's like a tree thing with a cow skull on top.
I would think. I don't know, man. Nature stuff doesn't really. I think it's the stuff that in nature that's completely like humanoid, like the rake. Like a rake is like a hobbit version of SCP-096. Except you don't have to look at it. It'll just kill you. Yeah. Stuff like that. Anything humanoid terrifies me. Really? No, it does.
Yeah, it has to be. Well, then why doesn't the goat man terrify you?
Because it's a goat. It's more of an animal. I'm talking about like skin. Like white skin, really veiny, claws are like way out here, you know?
Yeah.
And it looks at you with dark, like pitch black eyes, and you're just like,
Awesome. Time to die.
damn.
Alright, boys, I'm out.
Of this world onto another plane of existence.
Well, that's what's funny, like in horror stuff. Like, oh yeah, the weird, freaky sound. Yes. Let's go see what that is. Meanwhile, normal people, nah.
Make sure the shotgun's loaded and sleep tight, you know?
Yeah.
But even like in those stories, you know, like bullets never hurt it, or it had generation healing beyond our comprehension. It's like, nah, I'm pretty sure cryptid out there. You can kill it. It'd be tough. You can kill it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a like me, you know, I don't have a gun on me at all ever.
You know what you can get? You can get a 40mm buckshot round. That's what's taking out the cryptid. 40mm buckshot, you shot someone with that who cut a person in half. You'd have a chance to shoot cryptid with 40mm buckshot.
Yeah.
Because that's a canister about like the size of a little bit bigger than a soda can.
You can't carry very many. You only got a few shots. And you only got a few shots before your shoulder goes out.
You probably have like a bandolier with like 12 on it. But you only need to hit it a couple times. If that doesn't kill it, nothing you're carrying is going to kill it.
You just turn the barrel to your face and say goodbye world. Or your neck, because anything above would just...
You just hold it and you hit it with a small hammer. You hit it with a nail.
Bullets. That would never work.
No,
It'd be funny if it did work, but it wouldn't work.
What?
Hitting a bullet with a hammer? Because it
Yeah.
combusts.
No. If you take a bullet and you hit the back with like a hammer...
You know how hot that shell would be?
Nail,
Your fingers would burn.
Oh, yeah, no.
Instantaneously.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying you can do it.
It's not feasible.
No,
I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't.
You're trying to
recommend
survive against a cryptid, so...
doing it. I wouldn't recommend doing it, but it will go off.
That's why I'm trying to
It'll
make an
blow your hand
Ioka.
off, but it'll go off.
That's why I'm trying to make an Ioka.
Not your dang Ioka.
Come on.
Dude, just
Come
go
on.
buy some lead pipe and make a shotgun out of it.
No. I want to make a blunderbuss. I want to make an Eoka blunderbuss.
It's just
Because
a
you don't
rock.
have to have a hand. There's no trigger. You don't have to have a handle. You just put a piece of flint
Just make a
and you
flintlock thing.
scratch it
Make a
until it
flintlock
lights.
thing.
Why? That's
'Cause it's the
so
same
lame. It's so lame.
You know, you don't need a license to buy a flintlock. You could just buy a flintlock.
Because
Off the
it's
internet.
pretty unfeasible to do anything with it.
What, bro? You don't want me to concealed carry my flintlock?
Can't even shoot bullets out of a flintlock.
You can.
You'd have to find like
You'd make
metal
your own.
balls.
You'd buy a little lead caster and you'd cast little lead balls.
I'm not going to pay money just to buy a tiny musket.
You'd just buy like a brick of lead and cut little pieces off and make them bullets.
Man.
Like the least efficient thing possible.
Yeah. Speaking about efficiency, I think we're going to wrap it up for today.
All right.
It was a good first episode.
Yeah, we'll have to see what people think.
I need intro and outro music.
We'll have to see how the mic quality does. Mic quality was
Pretty scuffed. Well, my end is pretty good.
yeah.
Maybe
Should
your
get-
end.
we'll
I have to get another one of these.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
I was wrong, and I just can't live without you.